paints. You will now find them at Westside Decorating Center. Good morning to you. Welcome to this Friday edition of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. Later on, after the 10 o'clock news this morning, we'll be chatting with Marcia Braun and Demetrius Scott from the Saginaw Arts and Enrichment Commission about their upcoming awards and some other events. At 11 o'clock, we'll learn about Mid-States Sewers and what they do and also their relationship to the Freeland Walleye Festival. And throughout the morning, beginning during the 10 o'clock hour, we will hear some reports from Terry Henney, who will be out at the festival. But for this hour, we're going to learn about something else festive and serious at the same time. As many of you know, we have a program on WSGW called That's What She Said. And its creator and host and colleague and news reporter terrific and all of that stuff is with us this morning. She is the one and only Christiana Malacara. Good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Now, we should start out by saying, yeah, you do the podcast. That's what she said. Yeah, you do reporting. I'm guessing that makes up about 5% of your life. How many things are you involved in?
Lately I've been calling it a very dynamic career.
It's
so
in motion.
It is very much in motion, as it should be as a 35-year-old woman that's, just trying to find her way, right? Old? I am 35, yeah.
You're holding up pretty well.
Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it. I also work at Delta College in their broadcasting for PBS, and I host a show called Somos Hispanos. And on there, we talk about all the Latino happenings in the region and beyond, and provide information as well. Anything from how to be a bilingual mentor through adoption option to the celebration of the upcoming Cinco de Mayo. So that's very exciting to explore that with a camera in front of me instead of behind the scenes on radio. So I host and produce Somos Hispanos.
So it's a TV thing?
It's a TV thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So thanks for the holding up well comment.
I know that routine.
But I also am the chairwoman of Lead Saginaw, which we've talked about before. It's a nonprofit, very much involved in the Saginaw Chamber of Commerce. I sit on their YPN steering committee, and I also chair their marketing. But then aside from that chamber, I'm also involved with the other young professional chambers in the region and the Midland Business Alliance and then the Bay Area. I have 2 kids and a husband and a whole family here and a house and 2 dogs and all the things. So
what are you doing in your spare time?
What's that? No. Lately it's been shuffling the kids around between softball, baseball, soccer, all those things. Oh, you do that too, huh?
I
do.
Soccer mom.
Yeah. I enjoy it. It's a relaxing time for me, actually, watching them and cheering on and getting a little frustrated and come on, girls, but it's good.
So that's what she said. Let's talk first about how that came about. That one of the programs we have on Saturdays and Sundays.
Sure. So all of this happened with an idea. Which many things do, is just kind of what if, right? And taking that leap of faith and turning a what if to this might actually happen. So the power of manifestation. I had this idea of just having a women's show, and I told Jonathan Dent, who's the producer. And Jonathan was in a room that I wasn't and advocated for me. And here we are. It just started out with an idea of we need to hear what women are saying of the region.
So give us the premise of the show. What's the mission, if you will?
Yeah, sure. So the mission is to talk to every woman. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
it really is.
She's not kidding.
I'm not kidding. But I know that'll take a long time. So we talk to women anywhere from student to CEO. So you're a Delta College student to a CEO of, whichever, if that's a nonprofit or an entire industry, and everybody in between. Business owners, stay-at-home moms. And what we're doing is basically giving them a space to share. And then hopefully someone on the other end who's listening on all the many platforms that we sit on gets that aha moment, or that's me, or that is me right now, or I dealt with that, but a little differently, in being able to have a conversation and go back to who their circle is and say, I think it's time for me to talk about when I went through postpartum depression. Or I think it's time for me to step up and be a mentor to these people that are in my circle. So really it's a ripple effect. And I may not be able to see it, which we're going to change, but I may not be able to see where the ripple effect goes. Sometimes I get emails or text messages.
Well, I was going to say, as you know, I've been doing this a long time.
Sure.
And I, too, don't get to see the, quote, ripple effect. However, you do run into people who, for better or worse, because they're not always so nice, will give you the ripples.
Yeah.
You'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know.
It's just starting to happen. I'm running into people.
Who heard it.
And they give me their feedback.
Yeah. Sometimes wanted, sometimes not so wanted, but you take it anyway. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
So from this has now come an event.
Yes.
Empower, Elevate, Educate. It's a That's What She Said social.
Yes.
So tell us how this came about.
Okay.
And also some educational opportunity attached to it.
Yes. So basically it was one of those things, and I actually just talked about it for this upcoming episode, was when you think you have enough, look at yourself and say, but am I giving? Am I giving in a way? Is everything filling my cup so much that it can spill over and fill someone else's? And in June, we'll hit a year. Jonathan and I will hit a year of That's What She Said in June.
It's been a year.
It's been a year. It'll be a year, yeah, in a couple months. So last month, I reflected on this. My cup is overfilling. Whose cup can I fill with what I have left? And I went to college. I did not go to college for journalism or any type of broadcasting, but I also,
what did you go for?
I went for fine arts. I'm an artist.
Yep, I knew that, but I just thought I'd ask.
Yes. And so it was one of those ways of how can I fill someone else's cup? And I thought of, well, let's start a scholarship. I am not going to be doing this my entire life. Maybe. I don't know. As says Art. But in addition, it's like I need to condition someone to learn what I'm learning, and to maybe we could have a secondary host one day. Maybe I could, bring someone in when I'm not there. Maybe, this lives beyond me, the unknown, and conditioning that person to do that.
I will give you the same piece of advice my father gave me. And this is not because of ability or anything else. He just said, son, let me remind you, everyone is replaceable.
Most definitely.
So you take that for what it's worth, and I always did, and I always knew that, there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you do a wonderful job. Is there somebody out there to carry on that tradition when you're done? Probably. Mm-hmm. And it's a positive to look forward to, really. Finding that person will be the trick.
It's going to be very exciting.
However, at 35, don't look tomorrow. Wait a while.
Okay. I'll take that piece of advice,
About 30
too.
years, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, let me take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk more about this event coming up at the Bay City Country Club. So we talked Christiana Malakara and more ahead after these notes. Let me first tell you that if you're planning a road trip, big adventure, or even a weekend getaway, Dow Credit Union has the auto and RV loan rates to get you moving and service that puts you in the driver's seat. Explore your options at dowcreditunion.org/adventure.
Save big money on your next project.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. In studio with me is Christiana Malakara, and she has a program called That's What She Said. You just heard the promo there a few seconds ago. And she has an event coming up called Empower, Elevate, and Educate at the Bay City Country Club. Tell us the whens, the wheres, and the whys.
Okay. So it'll actually be on May 1st, which is next Thursday, at the Bay City Country Club. That is on 3 Mile Road. It's a beautiful venue. Actually going to square away some things
And
later
if you're
today.
coming from Saginaw, folks, 3 Mile Road is Davis Road. So
Yes. Yeah.
Davis.
So where was I at? Sorry. So the way to sign up, the way to engage to attend is actually through the Saginaw Community Foundation website. So you're going to go to saginawcommunityfoundation.org/donate. And that's going to take you to a donation page. And then you're going to select That's What She Said scholarship. You can type it in or scroll down. And my only request is that you make a minimum of a $15 donation. And that puts you on a list that I will soon receive and get you in the door on Thursday. So if you have multiple people that you want to sign up, it's kind of just a donate what you can. And that goes right towards our scholarship. That'll go towards a woman who's already attending college in the state of Michigan studying journalism or broadcasting.
Oh, you narrowed it down to a field.
Yes. Yeah. I filled out Renee Johnston, who is the president and CEO of the Saginaw Community Foundation.
Among other things.
Just a stellar woman in the community. She sat down with me and we went through an entire questionnaire of, kind of trying to figure out who would be the best applicant to receive this scholarship. And I will know this woman who is receiving the scholarship by the end of May.
Oh, so you have not picked. How do they? Is there an application process, or are you just scouring the region for the woman?
No scouring. They would go to the Saginaw Community Foundation website, and then under scholarships, they would type in That's What She Said, and then they can fill out the application, and we'll go through it that way.
So, what are you looking for? That's an interesting question. You're
Sure.
going to give somebody $1,000.
Yes.
What do they need to be? What are you looking for in that person?
So some of the things that we are asking them to share about themselves that are going to be scored higher. So there's a scoring system. So when they share things about themselves, the things that will be scored higher is leadership abilities. So they can give an example of how they are a leader or something that they may be doing in a leadership role. Also, their involvement in the community. That was a high priority when we were writing out these requirements. So what is it that they're involved in? Are there organizations across the state of Michigan? This is not Great Lakes Bay region limited. So if they're in a college already, this was important to me. They have to already be enrolled in college. There's so many scholarships out there for, seniors out of high school going into college. But I remember a time when I was in my third year of college and was like, another $1,000 would be real nice right now. I'm deep into my studying, deep into working, living on my own. There's very dynamic.
I have to tell you, as I listened to that, it harkens back to my youth. I was young when I went to college. I was 16. But back in the day, I didn't have to worry about those things. My parents were responsible for paying for my college. Mm-hmm. Now, my dad made sure I worked all summer before I went to college because he said, I'm paying your tuition, room, and board, but I'm not paying your pocket money.
That's fair.
So I earned my pocket money. But how times have changed.
Yeah, very much. There's so many things that if you're living on campus or off campus that just add up. They add up.
Sure, absolutely.
Not only is, the average tuition in Michigan higher than it's ever been, there's scholarships out there. There's real bucks out there they can obtain, and this is just one of those ways they can do that.
It's a negative cash way of living. It's all expenses with no income. You can't do that. Somewhere you have to have the income,
Exactly. So we're hoping to help out, and so they.
So you have these line of questions that they have to answer. They can be from anywhere in the state. A young woman who is already in college, right?
Correct. Yes. The one question that I put on there, and this is kind of the make it or break it, they have to check this box to even get considered, is they have to sit down with an interview with me while enrolled in college before they graduate. So They have to have a conversation on That's What She Said with Christiana Malicata and talk about their journey to obtain this.
Sneaky.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
That's good, though. I mean, I like that idea because one of the things when people get into the real world, they're going to have to do interviews for jobs and what have you. And to sit down with a professional and be able to converse is important.
It was that portion, but also the fact that, all of my guests on That's What She Said, they now have had opportunities in the community to meet each other. This is technically the second time that I've requested a gathering. And these women that I've sat across from for these interviews are now connecting within themselves and creating almost a sisterhood, a bond through That's What She Said. And being able to recognize the person, the woman who is accepting this scholarship, and welcome her into this network, this could be life-changing.
You're going to have a committee of selectors, or are you going to do it?
The Saginaw Community Foundation, they do all of that for me.
Yes, they do, because I've been on a distribution committee for things there.
Yes, yeah, they do a great job at what they do. So when this idea first came up, I knew exactly who I needed to talk to, and Renee has been a big help, and she's actually going to be one of the speakers at that event, on the 1st.
We'll talk about the activities of the event and all of that as we continue our conversation with Christiana Malicata here at WSGW. Let me take a moment to talk about McDonald Ford, who sits right out in the middle of the Freeland Walleye Festival. And by the way, I will be at McDonald Ford this Sunday morning for the big Freeland Walleye Festival car show. We'll be inside the, what is it? Well, anyway, we'll be inside one of the facilities there. And let me talk about McDonald Ford in Freeland, because you probably noticed it's getting harder and harder to find things made in America. And now with the uncertainty of tariffs, it's becoming even more important. McDonald Ford, in anticipation of tariffs, stock their lot with tariff-free vehicles, and they have many more en route. Not only are they tariff-free, but Ford is offering employee pricing for everyone. That means you pay the same price as Ford employees. In addition, let's say you're a Chrysler or import buyer, but you're considering a Ford. You will get the lowest price offered. Chevy truck buyers, maybe thinking they always wanted a Ford F-150, can get one at employee pricing. So you see, now's the right time to visit McDonald Ford, M47 in Freeland, for the best selection and the lowest possible price. Don't let tariffs prevent you from getting the vehicle of your choice at a price you can afford. Visit McDonald Ford in Freeland today. Remember, tariff-free and employee pricing for everyone at McDonald Ford.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
My moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Check out Great Lakes Bake.
All right, so we are back with you here on the Art Lewis Show, talking to our colleague Christiana Malakata, who is involved in not only the radio show she does, That's What She Said, but she is also having an event, Empower, Elevate, Educate, the Bay City Country Club on Thursday, May 1st. So what's going to be happening at this event? Give us a little rundown of the event itself. Well, hang on. Guess you need a microphone.
Okay, thank you, Art. I appreciate you. Okay, so we're gonna start checking people in and starting that social networking portion at 5:30, so that way people can get checked in. We're gonna have photo op kind of situations there. I have a photographer and some backgrounds that I want to be able to share the experience via photo on social media later. So we'll have that 30-minute portion of networking and talking and just getting to know and mingle with each other. We also will have some heavy hors d'oeuvres and drinks and a specialty pink drink, which, his eyes are rolling so hard. Did you guys hear that?
Mainly because I don't drink, but that's it.
And then at 6 o'clock, we'll start the program. So it's going to be emceed by our very own in the studio brand manager and voice of KISS, Yvonne. Yvonne's going to be our MC. The first guest speaker is Megan Saman. She's the president and CEO of the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce and a big longtime fan who's been a guest on That's What She Said.
And done this show many times too.
Yeah,
she's I would call her a WSGW groupie.
yeah. I think we need
We love her.
We need to get her like a little tiara or something. Yeah, most definitely. And then after Megan speaking, we are going to move into another guest that I had. Her name is Kayla Pionk.
She was the event coordinator for the Memorial Cup.
Yes.
And now works for the CVB.
Yeah, she is at Go Great Lakes Bay, and she's the director of PR over there, and just does an amazing things and sees things through a lens that is very regional. And then our last guest speaker is Renee Johnston. As we mentioned before, she's the president and CEO of the Saginaw Community Foundation, and she's going to talk about the process that we just talked about that the student will go through prior to receiving the scholarship.
Now, is that the night you announce the recipient?
No, we'll know the recipient at the end of the month. Yes. So
why did you choose not to announce it at the event?
Well, originally we thought that the scholarship recipient would be chosen through that vetting process and done at the end of this month, but it got pushed back a month, and we were already in the works for this event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is a fundraiser for the scholarship fund.
It is, yeah. And then hopefully, we'll be able to do this in the years to come, make this an annual happenings. But we're closing out the event with actually Jonathan Dent, who will be speaking and was a little hesitant to be in front of a microphone. I don't know why. But he's going to talk about things from his perspective.
A room full of women.
Well, men are invited too.
I understand that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, he sits in on every single conversation since day one. If anybody knows just as much, if not more, of the production portion of That's What She Said, it's Jonathan Dent. And like I said, if he wasn't in that room and advocated for me that day, then there wouldn't be a That's What She Said. So his lens is different than the previous speakers that I said.
Oh, yeah.
And he's actually we're going to play the audio clip that was submitted to the MAB, and he'll discuss things from that lens. So cool. Yeah, that's our night.
And that night is the first, and it starts at 5:30 with social networking, 6 o'clock program. And you said there'll be heavy hors d'oeuvres, beverages, and stuff like that. Huh?
Yes. Yep.
How long do you expect it to last?
All night long. No, not all night long. That's what I was waiting for. About 8, around 8 o'clock, we're going to kind of clear out. But really, it's just an opportunity for the women to get to know each other. I know I have listeners who are listening to an episode and they have their favorite episode and they'll replay it and like, oh, I wish I knew her. Well, this is the time to come.
All right, we're going to look ahead at some of those episodes and see what's coming up on That's What She Said after we take care of a little business.
It could be the best years of...
On the radio waves and at WSGW.com. We are Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. and then Sundays at 6 p.m. But if you prefer the Spotify or the Audible or the Apple podcast, that's 24/7 and just look for That's What She Said with Christiana Malagata.
So over the year you've been doing it now, have you got a favorite?
Oh, gosh. All right. That's like asking me of my favorite kid.
Yeah, which one's your favorite kid?
Oh man, there honestly is at least one moment for every woman that I interview where I jot down a time ticker when I'm watching on my screen and looking at the time run, and I think that is the moment where I just had that aha, like I never saw it that way, or I need to go back and listen to this again at this time.
So how do you find the women?
Good question. More lately, they have been coming to find me. But it's one of those things where, quite literal ripple effect. Guest one, I said, can you refer me to people in your life who have affected your life in a positive way, or, that you see out there in the community or in your circle. And then I get, referrals essentially, but I'm also out there in the community with news reporting and networking and such, and just very observant and seeing who's making moves and who's doing things. At the same time, I'm also looking for I want to interview high school students and middle school students coming up next while they're on their summer break, and in June and July I want to be able to have conversations with them in younger girls and just see what their perspective is on empowerment in life and the things that they're going through that maybe me as a millennial maybe didn't have to deal with when I was in high school. Just learning that is the next step, is trying to find students that are elementary and middle school and going on their summer break. So,
how far ahead do you look for guests, book guests?
Yeah, so if you ask Jonathan that, he would say too far. I booked a guest. I booked a guest two guests just fairly recently for October. That's the month that she's available in, and that's where we put her. But I do keep time slots open because we're only once a week right now. I keep time slots open every month, at least 2 of them. So, but we're pretty farly booked.
I'm writing down a suggestion as you're talking.
Oh, okay. So you taking a note. But I have an idea of your next question is what's next.
Let me ask this question. What's next?
Okay. So look at that, guys. I predicted Art Lewis's next question. That's next level for me. I'm going to take a note on that. So what's next is after we hit our 1 year in June, so starting in July, we're going to start having a specialist. So every third Thursday, that woman who will be sitting across from me is a specialist in her field. So the 2 weeks prior to her interview, I'm going to have a link on the Facebook page, which will take you to a Google document where the community can actually ask questions and put their questions in this survey. And then I will be able to ask those questions using my position as a vessel to ask the specialist. So that is what's coming up next. It's very exciting. We have a color analysis specialist that's going to talk all about fashion for women and what colors to wear, what not to wear, things like that. We have
I didn't know there were rules anymore. Not from what I've seen.
There's not rules, just suggestions.
Oh, okay.
And we have a pelvic doctor who's going to be talking about pelvic health for women. Prior to having birth, this might be an obstacle before getting pregnant, or something they're dealing with after giving birth. So we're having a pelvic doctor come on. plenty other specialists are in the works right now. I don't want to get
Supposed to be the
cat too
third
far.
week of each month.
The third Thursday of each month. Yeah. In the first 2 weeks, we're going to take questions from the community. What do you want to ask this specialist? And